A Parable of Sibling Rivalry. Once upon a time, there was a family of 4 kids. The 2 oldest kids were boys named Joey and Gary, and the 2 youngest were girls named Felicia and Courtney. Joey and Gary spent much of their childhood playing together, and Felicia and Courtney did the very same. As you can imagine, Joey and Gary were often in competition with each other, as were Felicia and Courtney. For example, Joey and Gary would often play basketball with each other, but things always became too competitive and would usually end with some sort of injury. Their parents hoped that they would be able to work through this conflict, but Joey and Gary just couldn't get past their continuous competition and rivalry. Felicia and Courtney had a little bit of a different situation. Both girls had similar interests, but their relationship was different than Joey and Gary's. Oftentimes, they would compete to see who could be the better tennis player or who had the better boyfriend. They would take things very seriously because they both took pride in being the winner. With this being said, they actually pushed each other to get better. After someone won a game of tennis, they would be able to laugh about it and know that they had just had a good time playing with their sister. The sisters didn't obsess over the rivalry like their brothers Joey and Gary often did, and this had a positive impact on their development. Both pairs of siblings grew up in different ways. As they matured, it seemed that the 2 boys were lacking something that the girls weren't. Joey and Gary lacked a sense of character and personality. They didn't seem to know who they truly were and how they fit into the world. Their identities revolved around their conflicts with each other. Felicia and Courtney, on the other hand, were able to explore their identities through their rivalry, because they didn't allow the rivalry to take over their lives. They had a better sense of identity as they grew up and had an understanding of their role in the world. These 4 siblings also had many different kinds of encounters with rules and laws. The girls always acted more mature than the boys, although they were younger. In one case, both Felicia and Courtney were underclassmen in high school, and they decided to break a law on school property that they believed was unjust. Breaking this law attracted the attention of school authorities to the unjustness of the law, and the law actually became changed. Throughout Joey and Gary's high school careers, they each followed this law, even though they saw it as being wrong. They were both simply concerned about themselves and not getting in trouble, while Felicia and Courtney both took the risk of getting in trouble and breaking the law in order to make a point and follow their ethical principles. These 4 children obviously grew up and developed in different ways. As Felicia and Courtney grew up, they bonded more and more through their rivalries. This led each of them to develop faster. Their surrounding culture allowed them the ability to work through these developmental stages at a quick pace, and in turn, they became mature for their age. On the other hand, Joey and Gary had some trouble as they grew up. They often found themselves falling behind in school because they couldn't think critically about what they were doing. They felt like they were unprepared for what they were being put through. Their rivalry was their life, and they had trouble moving through their individual development because of it. In the long run, Felicia and Courtney maintained a very healthy relationship as they both became adults and each found a healthy marriage. They both made an effort to make time to see each other and were happy with what they had done throughout their lives as sisters. Joey and Gary had a different story. They grew up despising each other and rarely talked or communicated. Joey was married only for a short number of years when his wife filed a divorce with him because of his continued lack of personality and character. He never put any value into caring for his relationships, and he ended up spending his life wondering why he didn't put more time into these relationships with his family and friends so that they could have lasted for him. Gary never found his role in the world and ended up abusing drugs as a teenager to try to find his identity. He didn't go to college, eventually dealing drugs on street corners. He was arrested multiple times, and eventually he went to prison for a lifetime sentence. Because of their unending conflicts through childhood, Joey and Gary's lives were permanently affected in a negative way, while Felicia and Courtney's healthy rivalry led to a healthy relationship and future success in their lives.